And that really did get the ball rolling on Biden dropping out of the presidential race. At that point, Kamala Harris became the nominee. You guys all know what happened after that. Now, fast forward to today, Clooney still has some resentment for how he was treated by some in the Democratic Party after he wrote that op-ed, how people handled the situation. Let's take a look.
In this video, Anna Kasparian of Young Turks is back. Anna Kasparian covers a recent interview with George Clooney where he talks about his comments that were thought to have played a part in Biden stepping down. With that, let's watch Anna Kasparian expose George Clooney as just another self-important liberal elite that thinks he knows better than an average American about everything.
Did something that a lot of people would call brave when you wrote your op-ed.
Well, I don't know if it was brave. It was a civic duty. We have to find somebody rather soon, because we need to redo. Look, the other side, the side that I'm, that I don't support, won, and they are, running through government and doing their thing. So it's our job now to put together a proper team to stand up because we're right now polling very poorly.
Actor George Clooney is opening up about the scathing op-ed that he published for the New York Times last year, urging former President Joe Biden to drop out of the 2024 presidential race. And he's giving some advice to the Democratic Party on what their next move should be. So, for some context, real quick, back in last July, Clooney penned this op-ed for the New York Times titled, "I love Joe Biden, but we need a new nominee." In it, he wrote, "We are not going to win in November with this president. On top of that, we won't win the House and we're going to lose the Senate. This isn't only my opinion. This is the opinion of every senator and Congress member and governor that I've spoken with in private, every single one, irrespective of what he or she is saying publicly."
Damn.
And that really did get the ball rolling on Biden dropping out of the presidential race. At that point, Kamala Harris became the nominee. You guys all know what happened after that. Now, fast forward to today, Clooney still has some resentment for how he was treated by some in the Democratic Party after he wrote that op-ed, how people handled the situation. Let's take a look.
Even though I could give two shits what George Clooney says, as I think about it, you might as well listen to Clooney if you're the Democrats. You can't do any worse than you already are. I can't disagree with some of the things he said. The Democrats are a mess. They're polling terribly, and they need to revamp the whole thing. I don't think George Clooney knows how difficult that will be for a bunch of woke idiots with their own agendas and different ideas on which way the party should go. It's borderline impossible for them to get on the same page. Something I found interesting though, which is no surprise to anyone, but it just feels good to have it confirmed. George Clooney said every governor, congressman, senator that he spoke with said they agreed that Joe Biden should step down. What does that tell you about Democrat politicians? They're cowards. All of them felt that way, but would lie to your face when they are in front of a camera, lie to the American people, and not tell them what they really thought about a situation. Democrats can't be trusted. That's not news to you guys. Anyway, let's get back to the video.
You called for a robust primary, mini primary.
Yeah.
I know there were a lot of people that wanted that. Obama and Nancy Pelosi were saying so publicly that that's what they wanted after Biden dropped out. But the way Biden dropped out, immediately endorsing Kamala Harris, that didn't happen. That didn't get to happen.
Here's the problem that we were facing with that. It's very hard to, whether or not you agree that that administration was successful or not, that's a different thing. But the perception was, and how they were running was that it was a failed administration. I could argue that it's not, but that's a different argument. You can't run against yourself, right? And that's why that was a difficult campaign. It's hard to run against yourself and say, well, yeah, I disagree with all this. I think we should have seen from some people that I think we have some really good governors, and I would have liked to have seen an expedited, quick primary. I think we would have sustained it, and she may have come out on top. I don't know.
Okay, I totally agree with him. There should have been some sort of primary. I think that would have been better. So that's the substantive point I want to make. The not so substantive point is, I really hate that your ears continue growing as you age. Like we've got to find a solution to that. It's unacceptable. John, now to you.
Clooney, you are unacceptable. I think he's still a handsome man. He's obviously he's up there in years.
Still
But
handsome. The dye is too dark, but the ears continue to grow for all of us.
True.
It's not just a Clooney thing, obviously.
Yeah. I was gonna give him a pass on the betrayal of Joe Biden, but the hair, I don't like it. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, I don't understand people who were mad at him, but okay, that's in the moment. You don't know what's gonna end up happening. Now, with all the hindsight we have, I do not understand putting 3 seconds into critiquing him for what he did. I just don't understand.
I agree. Yeah.
I know that because Harris lost, there will be some people utterly deluded that are like, Biden would have won it. That I think is the craziest belief.
If you like watching videos like this one, like and subscribe. We'd really appreciate it. Let's get back to the video.
Ever. I mean, that's right up there with Trump actually won in 2020. I mean, look, Harris, I think, could have done some things very differently. If I was in charge, she would have done a lot of things differently. But I think she also did some things way better than Biden would have. Should we have had the mini primary? Maybe. I think that would have been interesting. It's obviously very difficult. I don't know that it would have made any difference whatsoever with the small amount of time that we had. Maybe it would have. And the race ended up being in the 3 swing states that mattered. It was very close. So maybe Westmore would have won it, or maybe Gavin Newsom would have won it. I don't know. I just threw that in to turn you off the idea. But I don't know, like he did what needed to be done. We all saw the debate. I covered it here at this exact desk. Anybody who thought that no matter what, we stick with Biden, like, again, why am I wasting time? I'm not gonna, if you still believe that, I'm not gonna be able to get through to you.
Yeah, in fact, I think the biggest problem was that all these people surrounding him knew what Biden's condition was and how he was not suited to run for a second term. And if
we call him Sleepy Joe out of the gate. He wasn't fit to serve his first term. And Anna's just highlighting what I said earlier. He was surrounded by sycophants, which they accused Trump of, that lied to his face and lied to the Americans people's face, that he's just fine, even though we saw him slowly dying every time he was on camera. And almost everything I say is sarcastic, but this isn't all that sarcastic, what I'm about to say. I really think it's some form of elder abuse. These people just propped him up like Weekend at Bernie's because if you were in his orbit, he's the president and you have power. I mean, those were the people running the government. And I love that idiot said saying that Biden would have won is like saying Trump won in 2020. No, they're nothing similar at all, because there's a lot of things that point to the fact that Trump did win in 2020. I'm not saying I know for sure. They're not even the same ballpark. And by the way, maybe another Democrat that wasn't Biden or Kamala would have given Trump a run for his money. But one thing I can say for sure, no matter if it was Kamala Harris or Joe Biden, both of them would have lost to Trump inevitably. Let's wrap up the video.
he had won to serve in a second term. But they were, in my opinion, what happens with the Democratic Party is people are so afraid to offend each other that they just kind of continue heading toward that iceberg. And I just want to say to everyone who's watching this right now, when someone within the Democratic Party is warning about something, they're not doing it because they're hoping the other side wins. They would just stay quiet if they're hoping the other side wins. They're raising these concerns with the hope that something will be done about it, so you avoid the iceberg. You know what I'm saying? And so I just see this culture right now within the Democratic Party that's like so counterproductive, where anyone who speaks up about like, maybe this isn't the right direction, or maybe this isn't the right candidate, maybe we need to kind of tinker with our strategy a little bit, they get piled on, and then the party just keeps going in the bad direction. It's just,
well, and also,
why do you think that is, Anna? It's because of the low testosterone level of the Democrat Party. They're extremely sensitive and emotional. So any criticism or even suggestion that, hey, maybe we want to go in a different direction here from one of the rare rational people in their party, or anyone really, any suggestion, any criticism offends them and hurts their feelings, and they demonize that person and say, you're trying to let the Republicans win. What are you, MAGA? They're so pathetic. But we want to hear from you. What do you guys think about George Clooney's interview and Anna's comments on it? Let us know in the comments. Anyway, as always, really appreciate you watching, and we will see you on the next one.